In a fast-growing social media world, deciphering between the true, the authentic, and the honest individuals creating real disruptive changes in their industry has become very difficult. Many people are quick to flash the cars, the money, but very slow to give people the true wisdom they seek. This is why we started the Real Estate Disruptors, to bring you in front of real disruptors, changing not only the barriers in their industries, but doing it and impacting millions of lives. Welcome to the Disruptor Network. Our next disruptor, a Brooklyn native whose love for music helped him catapult in the industry and is now the president of Cinematic record label. Let me introduce to you, Hovain.
Music always been like the centerpiece of my life. I'm the youngest of 5, so my older sisters, older brother, listening to music, playing music around the house. So music was just like a constant thing in my life. So it's all I kind of knew. So coming up, like, you know, people be like, yo, I want to be a doctor, I want to grow up, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a fireman. Like, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I know I wanted to do something in music.
You know, you grew up in Brooklyn, you know, it's like everybody kind of says it, but how do you actually do it? How do you transfer from the want to do it to actually get into the business?
I tell people all the time, I really just did it. Like, I didn't have any
you didn't know anybody.
Internship.
Yeah.
I didn't have any friends that were in music like that. I didn't have a way in. It was just like I had a friend that was doing music, and I was like, well, if you're gonna do music, I'll help you with the music. And then that turned from me helping him with the music to me managing him. And it turned from me managing him to being who I am today, because it's like, I just did it. I didn't really.
You learned on the job.
Yeah, I learned on the job. I didn't really think about like, yo, what it is, how we're gonna do it. We just started doing it, kind of like emulating the things that I seen done prior to me, like with the Jay-Z and the Dames and Chris Lighties and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's kind of my next point. Like, your first run in this business really emulated a lot of these old Brooklyn guys that did it. Like, you went from just putting out mixtapes to producing something that was on Z100. Like you're in the top pop charts, not just the top hip hop charts. Yeah. So what happens when you go from that into a level where you sit with these executives and they're talking to you about that kind of stuff? Like, is it the street stuff that comes back to you? Is it your growing up that comes back to you? Like, how do you talk in those rooms when you first get into them?
No matter where I go in, no matter what room I am, I remain myself.
Yeah, I think the fact that people know me is a testament to my work. You know what I'm saying? People know me because I really get busy and I do a great job.
And I think
my reputation speaks for itself.
I'm not responsible for how you perceive my information I dole out, though. Because I can say something and two people could perceive it two different totally different ways.
Yeah, but if
especially somebody who's insecure, or somebody, I could be talking to you who's secure in yourself. I could be talking to somebody who's insecure, and I can say the same exact thing, the same exact way. You might take it the way you take it. Yeah. I'm not responsible for how you perceive what I'm saying.
Should artists be that sensitive at people's opinions about their music?
I don't contour my conversation or change my belief in myself because I'm sitting with the Prince of Saudi Arabia, or if I'm sitting with some dudes from my hood in a barbershop. So it's like, I go into those rooms as myself. I'm obviously in this room because you respect me and my opinion and my mind and my work. I have an ultimate belief in myself and my abilities. Like, I have very high confidence. It goes back to knowing who you are. And I had a great support system. Like, you know, my wife, my kids, my family, you, like, you know, friends, like real friends like you, Sickamore, Mike, people that I can lean on. Like, oh no, you got this. Like, what are you doing? You know, you might be down right now, but you got to be up.
So what would you tell, if we're talking, maybe we're talking to young artists right now, what would you tell them you think are keys for them to be somebody that to be successful in this business, and somebody that they want to work with, that even somebody like you would want to work with?
Don't worry about me. I tell artists all the time, cater to your fan base, build out your fan base, cater to them, create unique fan engagements, grow your base. I'm gonna find you. If you're doing what you need to do, I'm gonna find you.
Good point.
I'm on top of my shit. I'm gonna find you. Don't worry about catering to the 1% of people that work in the music industry. Worry about your fan base and doing things for them and growing your buzz.
Yeah.
Don't say, hey, I want to get a meeting with you, because that's not the end all be all, because I might not like you.
You're right.
You know
Yeah, or maybe a bad day.
Yeah, don't worry about catering to the music business. Cater to your fans.
Yeah, that's really interesting at this point, because if you look at the biggest artists in the world, I think it's because they control their fan base more than everything. You look at somebody like Travis Scott or Drake,
100%.
they control their fan base.
Listen, J. Cole could drop tomorrow and it's gonna sell. Kendrick can drop tomorrow. Drake, Beyonce.
It doesn't matter.
Their fan base is built in. It's not, you know what I'm saying? You're not in love with the song. They're engulfed in love with the artist. They buy their merch. They come to their shows. They name their children.
Support everything.
They get tattoos. You know what I'm saying? Because they're catered to their fan base. 2020 was a blessing in disguise for a lot of people because it really shows who's who and what's what. If you're the old guard whose typical plan is find an artist, sign an artist, put out a single, put out a second single, put out an album, promo tour. Last year was
couldn't do that. Yeah, exactly.
It was disruptive, so you had to be someone who thinks outside of the box. I pride myself with being a person who thinks outside the box, so it was just to pivot. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do virtual concerts. We're gonna come out with a good piece of art and vinyl. We're gonna do different ways to engage your fan base and still keep people tuned in, still buying your stuff, and you're still gonna make some income. We're gonna have you on a Patreon or whatever thing behind a paid wall.
Yeah.
It's just like you had to be creative and innovative to survive, and those people that did.
Do you feel like you're hearing almost better music now because the artists have more time to concentrate on just making music instead of touring and stuff like that, or just not? Yes and no?
50-50.
Yeah.
There's been some great music created. There's been some bad music created. I don't think nobody captured the moment yet. Maybe somebody out there that's probably working on it. There was no theme there's nobody dropped To Pimp a Butterfly yet.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody, but maybe that's coming this year. Somebody who took that year to reflect in writing and creating that. There's no one who grabbed that moment and owned the pandemic. Or,
Yeah, for
you know what I'm
sure,
saying?
yeah.
There's no one's sound you can think of.
This is a tough question. You're a Brooklyn guy, but what is your perfect, like what is perfect music for you, or what was perfect album for you, and does that stuff exist today?
Perfect for me was Life After Death, Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders, Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Ice Cube, Death Certificate.
Yeah, that's a good one actually. That's one that most people won't say.
Get Rich or Die Trying. Music is like, it comes out at a time, it gives you a feeling. You might have been a senior in high school and in love with a girl, and this album dropped,
right.
and it holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah.
It's perfect to you, but it doesn't mean it's perfect.
It's very personal. You're 100% right. That's why it's hard to have that conversation. Top 5 rappers love top 5 albums around, because it really has got to be personal to you.
Yeah, it's really personal to you, but there's some albums that are just really undeniably perfect.
So for entrepreneurs that maybe want to get into this business or build something out that's music, what would if somebody came to you and you thought they were talented, what kind of advice would you give them?
Believe in yourself, have a plan, build a team. Nothing great get done alone. And try not to have a plan B. And humans are humans. Like if we have an out, we know we have a safety net. Like self-preservation. It's like I'm not gonna go super hard because I know I have something to fall back on, and that's not fair to yourself. It's not fair to your dream.
I think you hit it on the head for any business. Everybody ever comes to me, they're always like, "Well, I'm gonna transition into this." I'm like, transition doesn't work. Like you got to
jump in.
Get in or out.
Sink or swim.
Yeah. And again, for you, I know about you. There was never any plan B.
Never.
Like no matter what, you always just kind of were just like, this is what it's gonna be.
Yeah, like I willed myself to the point I am at. Like I was like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. And that's what I did. It's like if you give yourself no other choice and you're honest and you work at what you do and you really put in the time, there's probably a very slim chance that you're gonna fail. You could fail, anything's possible.
Yeah.
But if you really give 100% effort in what you do and love what you do and really, really work at it, you're not gonna fail.
No,
you might not reach the height of level of success you want, but you're not gonna fail. You're gonna succeed.
I know you never get to an ultimate goal, right? There's never any ultimate goal because you kind of always just keep pushing. But what's next for you? What do you kind of want? What gets you up every single day now, and where do you want to be next?
I think next I want to start getting into some property owning and stuff like that. I want to start buying some property, investing, spreading the money out a little bit. I want to open some restaurants. I want to.
You do a lot in the community now too, so I didn't ask you that, but I know that's part of your whole entire plan. You do a toy drive every year that's on the news every single year, like so.
Always.
You grew up here, like you really grew up here. You know what I mean? So like, and people say this all the time. I want to buy the block. I want to do this, but what do you want to do for Brooklyn?
I would love to open like an empowerment job center for people, because I think that's where it all starts at. People don't feel equal. They don't feel like they have money. They don't have what other people have, so it creates jealousy, animosity, lack of self-worth. And then that's where you get crime, that's where you get drug dealing, that's where you get, like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It starts at education. Education is cool. A lot of people concentrate on that. I want to make sure that people of this community have the tools and empowerment to have a job to make a living wage. Because if you have a job where you're making decent money, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be committing crime. You're going to be like, oh,
right.
I got to get up for work. You know what I'm saying?
Right. People create crime and they feel less than, they feel like they have no other choices. You know, that's a back against the ball thing too. I feel like I have no choice.
When you're born, like I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn. Like I'm from the hood. You're born in survival mode. You're not even thinking about creating or being you can't even fulfill your maximum potential because you're just trying to survive. You're trying to feed your family. You're trying to eat. You're trying to pay rent. You're trying to make sure I can buy my kid an outfit. So you're not really even in a space of being free-minded to think and to tap into your potential.
That's so true.
You're just trying to survive. So if you could kind of even the playing field and making sure these people are able to provide for themselves and take care of their family, there's no telling what
you can do.
Yeah. And it's like I never had no example of what success looks like coming from Brownsville. So it was kind of like, I could do it. I don't think I can't do it. I'm not sure if I can do it, but I'm going to
figure it out. I'm gonna figure
it out.
Our next disruptor, Senior Vice President of A&R and Interscope Records, and a true pioneer of New York City hip-hop. From selling his DJ mixtapes to the record shops, to managing some of hip-hop's most celebrated artists. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sickamore.
All right. So I'll do my best to translate what it was like to be a mixtape DJ in the 90s, even what that means. So to be a DJ in the 90s means you got a record and you were the only way to play music. You know, it means no Spotify, no YouTube, no Apple Music. So the DJs would be the tastemakers. They were the bloggers, they were the DSPs, they were influencers, they were all that in one person. They were like some of the coolest people. And you know, they looked at it as a real craft. So the labels would give you music, or the streets would give you music, and you'll try to break it at a party, break it on a radio station. And that's kind of how it happened for hip hop. Technology breeds innovation. So what started happening, it started going to vinyl to tapes. And from tapes, underground DJs would make their own mixed tapes of different music and sell it on the streets. So by the time in the early 2000s, started coming like the mixtape revolution, because then everybody wanted to be on the mixtapes. And the person who created the boom was 50 Cent. And I got in right before 50 Cent got in, and my thing was focused on instrumentals. And all the rappers in the city, then around the country, and soon around the world, wanted to rap on different instrumentals. And they would need my instrumentals more than they need anything else, because that's the only way they're gonna get beats. And instrumentals is basically the music that you hear on the radio or wherever, just a track with no vocals. So 50 started rhyming over these tracks, and he started making whole albums based on other people's material and then putting it out. And that became the hottest thing on the street. And he was doing songs better than people's beats. So after a while, people stopped putting instrumentals out because they were scared that people were gonna kill their instrumentals better than them. So his stuff would just go viral, and everyone wanted to start getting in the mixtape game. I did mixtapes with Snoop, you know, Fabulous called me, I did Best of Jay-Z tapes, and everyone wanted to get in the mixtape game. And that was like the disruption era. And I was real proud to be a part of that era. And that's kind of like, you know, running around New York with my headphones. I was known in high school having a binder full of CDs. Everybody would just come and borrow my CDs or double them, you know what I mean, make copies for them. I would start selling mixtapes to people with my own mixes to teachers, students, and from there, you know, my friend Terrence told me, you know, you could just do one mixtape and then sell it. You know, I had like a little tag I was going with Sickamore, which is a Biggie line, with my Sickamore style, more sicker than yours, from the song You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. And I just made that DJ Sickamore. And I was off, made 1 CD, 25 copies. I went to one store, I sold 10. Went to another store, they asked for 25, I had 15. Next day they said, we'd like 100 CDs. And at that time, I was burning my own CDs once every 20 minutes. So it took me 3 days to fulfill that order. You know, but at $250 a CD, I got $250 back, and I was in business. I can't look back. You know, as a 17-year-old, you know, you don't really know fear at 17. You don't know failure, you just know go. And you know, I had a chip on my shoulder, like, you know, everybody was trying to play me. That was like my fear, so I had to like show a certain kind of face when I was outside to combat that. Like, nah, like I know what I'm talking about. Didn't go to college, so I went to Barnes & Nobles and I read a lot of books on personal finance, investments, entrepreneurship, business development, spirituality, you know what I mean, growth. Anything I could to improve myself at the same time as growing as like a young kid in the street, you know what I mean? I was also like trying to grow as a human. And sometimes I get teased, like when I'm in LA or something, like, oh, you don't talk like you from New York, you know what I mean? But I'm as New York as it gets, because it's like the hustle of it, I'm gonna go get it no matter what. That don't leave you, you know what I mean? You can just wear Timbs and say facts and everything. That doesn't really mean, that's not really the essence of New York. The essence of New York is like, I'm gonna get it, no one's gonna stop me, I'm not gonna make no excuses, go get it. That's New York to me, you know, if you can't make it here, get out.
What's your title at Interscope?
Senior Vice President of A&R and Creative Director.
So you go from starting as DJ Sickamore into having these titles now. So walk me through what happened in between. There had to be a lot of ups and downs, and especially since you started the industry so young.
I got rid of the DJ part early because I didn't like the stigma that was attached to DJs. You know, people like try to like play you a little bit. You know, like, you gotta play my record, you a DJ, da da da. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I don't gotta do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I wanted to move. I want to be like a bigger brand, so I just kind of cut that early. Just have my brand as like Sickamore. I started getting small A&R jobs, and one time this guy at the manager at Beat Street Records downtown Brooklyn, he's like, you want a job? You want an A&R? I'm like, great. What is it? You know, he said, well, you got to find artists in book studio. Like, cool. I had the job, and they paid me like $600 like a week, and I was like, this is great, you know. And then from there, I got an A&R opportunity with Just Blaze, the famous producer of Rockefeller. And you know, I was just on him like, you need a label, like Jay-Z's retiring, you know, Kanye's coming up, like, you know, I'm about 18 at this time. So he makes me a deal. He's like, you know, find me an artist. I'll make you the A&R, and you'll get paid when we get distribution. I'm like, cool. Boom, find them artists. Start running with the flag of the label, Fort Knox. Boom, 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 moving around. Start getting phone calls and start getting pressed. I'm the youngest A&R in the game, 19. Self-branded, A&R favorite, A&R's favorite A&R. You know what I mean? Just like, bam, 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 bam. In the streets, you know what I mean? Keeping that shit moving. You know what I mean? Trying to get it going, just going through it. And then I got my first real A&R job with Craig Kalman at Atlantic Records. You know, my mentor, Kiyamba Hip Hop Joshua, brought me in there, and you know, they together they say, like, you're gonna have this first A&R gig, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna make this A&R thing work, and I'm not gonna look back. And I retired from DJing at 21, and I just started this new chapter. It didn't go as planned at first, you know. When you're 21, you go to corporate America, everything seems good. They give you like a corporate card, I had like an assistant, I had an office, you know, a salary and benefits. But then, you know, there's three parts of corporate culture. The technical side, which is the actual job that you have. The political side, which you don't see. Like, who's been at the company long, you know, whose nephew that is, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, and the cultural side, you know, do people get there at 9 o'clock? Do they bring their dogs to work? Do they smoke in the bathroom? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really understand the cultural side and political side of a company for a while. You definitely don't know it at 21. So like, I wasn't really moving right in there. I probably alienated some people, signed the wrong things. Just after a while, I was like, man, this shit is trash. I don't want to do this no more. So I decided to resign and start an artist development firm called The Famous Firm. And the idea was that artists needed better development. You know, it was good. You know, you learned a lot, had people going, started a movement. You market it online, people fuck with it online, they like the young movement, they want to be a part of it. Everybody want to be part of the famous firm in different parts. Started having reps in New York, California, Atlanta, London, Memphis, DMV, Miami, Boston, Cleveland. That was about the end of the Cinderella part of the story. And you know, shit started like losing the grip on things, you know, keeping track of clients. I got my biggest client, Nicki Minaj, you know, she's early Nicki, itty bitty piggy, you know, rapping in the tub on the mixtapes, and I'm losing like her because I'm in DC trying to have a consulting client. She's on a vibe shoot, I'm not there. She's cursing me out, what the fuck are you? You're a bad manager. And then, you know, this company starts crumbling, start losing money, you know what I mean? Like damn, shit's not working. I don't know how this just turned so bad so fast, you know? And I'm like 24 years old, feeling like, man, I gotta change something. This is not who I see myself as. This is not who I am, you know what I'm saying? And I said, you know what, I'm gonna figure this out. And I said, I'm gonna write my Wikipedia. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna write how this shit's gonna go over the next 5 years. And I folded up the paper and I put it in my pocket. And I kept it in my pocket for 5 years. You know what I mean? Like when you wake up in the morning, phone, wallet, that paper. I started doing shows in Williamsburg, you know what I mean? Hip hop shows. I started doing it in conjunction with XXL magazine. And me and my good friend Hovain partnered on it. And we just have 4 different artists every month. You know what I'm saying? As far as one street, one hipster, one like internet, and one like cultural. I have a new crowd, and we started doing shows, started meeting new people. That was around the blog era. You know, we're way different than the mixtape era. And I'm learning how to do this thing, you know? That started becoming successful. You know, from there, one of the artists I was working with got a record deal for Warner Brothers Records. You know what I'm saying? So that started happening. Like now I'm building myself back up. You know, I got a little money there, so I got an advance. Broke it up, I got like 20K. I'm like, okay, cool, you know? Starting to happen a little bit, you know what I mean? And from there I moved to LA. I got my first job since I resigned from the Atlantic Records shop. Maybe 4.5 years ago, with Def Jam. My boy Joey IE, he looked out for me. And they gave me 3 artists. They gave me YG, Lil Durk, and Lil Reese. And I was like, cool, you know what I mean? They gave me all the gangsters. The first thing that started going was Durk. He had a song called This Ain't What You Want. That song was going, you know, the whole movement was happening. And then he had went to jail, and I started kind of shifting my focus to YG. You know, we put out the song, My Hitter, you know what I'm saying? And the song started to go, and that was like my first like hit record. And that was about 5 years to the point where like I wrote in that piece of paper, maybe like 4.5, you know? It didn't seem like that long though. It seemed like it happened quick. You know what I'm saying? But that's when I started having more patience in life and just say, you know, if you do things the right way, it's gonna come in time. You know, and then, you know, the rest of the story is kind of boring because it's all started going up from there. I needed to learn all of that to be like more of a complete person, to have, you know, more humility, to have more depth, to have more wisdom. You know, the failure builds character. I feel like if I would have been successful in that first rocket, I would have been a terrible person. You know what I'm saying? I would have been a terrible friend, family member, and I think that I've gotten to become a better person through the failures. You see what I'm saying?